So Kit, this I was watching this. It felt like a sort of a very old school disaster movie. It was very traditional in form, the good versus evil love story, no twist. Was it refreshing doing something in that manner that felt very classic?
Yeah, I think when I read it, it felt a slightly old school way of making movies, and I think Paul is that type of director. He likes that type of thing. He likes, very kind of. He likes his action sequences played out by his actors, not stuntmen. He likes classic storytelling of a kind of maybe a 90s sort of genre action film, and that's what it felt like. But it felt nice that they were updating that we had the CGI elements in 3D of today while telling a story that maybe has been lost a few years back.
When you're telling a story like Pompeii, I mean, it's a bit like, I guess, if you did Titanic, everyone knows the ending. Is that a help or a hindrance? I mean, do you play up to that? Do you try and forget about that and the scenes running up to it? How do you work with it?
I think the trick is, and what you try and do, is you try and bombard the audience with as much as you can leading up to it, to make them forget it's going to happen in a weird sort of way. I think we managed that when I watched it, and I know what's going to happen. Obviously, you've got it in the back of your mind, but you're kind of hopefully swept away with the story enough that when the actual event happens, the event that's on the posters clearly and everyone knows is going to happen, that it kind of takes everyone by surprise, and then suddenly it's a different movie for the second half of the film. And that's what we wanted to try and do.
This is probably a credit to the technical guys. I sat there, and obviously it's a lot of CGI and the explosion and all that kind of stuff. But I sat there and it looked like there was a lot of large sets as well. I mean, was this epic in scale, or was it mostly CGI? What was the balance like?
50-50, I'd say. I was expecting it to be far more CGI. It's very difficult for an actor being in a big green box. And we weren't ever always in just a big green box. There was always a set built, like a big Roman street, or the Colosseum was built, or the dungeons, or the cells that you find gladiators in were built. There was a lot built for us to work with, and that helped immensely. And actually, it helps the audience as well. I think they don't want to just see completely just a computer game.
I mean, but with this sort of genre, usually the thing now is CGI. If you look at 300 and Rome and Spartacus, it's kind of, that's the look of the Roman period. I mean, was it refreshing to you that they've gone the complete opposite?
It was slightly old school. It was slightly old school filmmaking, really. That Paul likes big bangs, big explosions, fake stones being chucked about on set. He likes that, when he makes his Resident Evil movies. He likes real kind of men in costumes and monsters, and I quite like that. It helps an actor, and it's sort of fun to do. I think it creates a really interesting process with CGI alongside.
And just finally, when someone's in such a high-profile series like yourself, it can either go two ways. In the fact the actor on their hiatus will go, I don't want to be typecast, and do something completely different. Mm-hmm. You've gone for a similar genre. There's swords in it, for example. Yeah. Do you think about that? Do you worry about it, or do you just go script by script?
No, I do think about it. I like working, and I like when something comes up, and I also like the sword fighting action hero aspect of it all. And this came along when I was still enjoying that. And actually now, the two movies I'm doing at the moment are very different, because I got to a point where I'd overloaded. Done enough of swords and stuff now, so I want to do contemporary. I want to do something a bit more dramatic, for example, a bit more sort of character driven maybe, and that's what I'm doing as we speak, alongside Thrones, which is my quota of swords and swords and horses.
So we've got more of an eclectic future coming up for Kit.
Yeah, I think so. I'm doing two at the moment, which I'm quite very excited about. I'm doing Spooks, the movie, which is a spy thriller, modern day British movie, and I'm just finished one called Testament of Youth, which is a First World War period drama. So yeah, not exactly the Gladiator.
We look forward to it and finding out if Jon Snow reunites the Starks. I always forget what happens, and then it gets to the end of Game of Thrones, and I'm like, oh, I remember now, and then I've got a series break. Okay, very nice to see you.